So we've got business that we wanted to do today so that the March meeting isn't such a marathon. We do have a couple of housekeeping items here that I'd like to throw out first. We are virtually broadcasting this, so if you do a motion, if you can say your name with it, that'd be great. Also, it helps Laura get introduced to all of you if she's struggling for a name, but that will help that. The meeting locations, I'm sorry to be jumping around. We do like this room because it does have this setup. So you'll see, I think they've got a schedule, don't they? Somewhere in the packet. The next two are in 205, unfortunately, and then the rest of them are down here in 100B. So we're either in one that you're very used to or this one. So, and then if you're not able to attend, just shoot me a note so we know whether we've got a quorum, and I don't want to drag anybody here and not be able to do business. So
that's right, Laura and Bill. Dave Finero, you met him, didn't you?
He was on phone last time, so
yeah.
We've got two new folks with us. Bill started at the end of October. I think he already knows Dave. And Dwight from Ocean. I'm not sure if you've met Dwight from supervisor from Ocean. And then Laura Johnson joined us December 2nd. Mary Ann Merle is joining us right now. And Laura is taking care of the books for us, kind of the finance administrator of the office. She's been on board for 2 whole months. If you did go to 205 today, you might see a lot of crock pots.
I did not.
Super Bowl.
That sounds better though.
We were afraid we might lose a few of you in the area. Try the French onion if you're up there. I think that's Laura's entry.
Yeah, I know Thursday's on her way, so
Yes, yes.
get my stuff out of her way.
All right, so the first thing for the agenda is the assessment and the effectiveness of the internal controls. This is just something to go over with. It's again an annual item that we update and re-update every year. I'm not proposing any changes, so this will look very, very familiar to you. Basically, what it does is it talks about the purpose of the IDA. You'll also see one for the LCDC when the time comes. It talks about our control system, so how we look at checks and how we sign checks and invoices and how they're opened and approved for payment. We don't work with any cash in the office, which I don't know if cash is even accepted in most places anymore, quite honestly, but we don't accept any cash. We don't do any credit cards in the office. Occasionally, we might do those through tourism at different times, but nothing with the IDA. Bank statements are reconciled monthly, and again, a full audit is done at the end of each year. So those are our controls that have been in place for a while. The system works well, and it has been tried and tested by Bonadio for I don't know how many years we've been using them. They approved this. And you need an approval of that to accept.
I entertain a motion to accept this.
Just obligation motion.
Second,
Dave Narrow seconds.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carried.
Hey, thanks. Next one up is the authority, the self-evaluation of the prior year performance. So this is kind of an operations and accomplishments report. This basically says what we did as an IDA. On the top of this, you'll see where it says the 2024 performance measurements. This is what we set for ourselves last year and tried to achieve for the most part throughout the year. So one of the big things that we had on the agenda last year was the Livingston Correctional Facility. We were picking that up right in the beginning of the year. So our initiative was to market the facility and to try and get some job creation, tax base, and put some commercial and prospective commercial and industrial businesses through there. We want to stay ahead of the market conditions with all of our emerging industries to try and put some of those folks on the slate and see if we can attract them here to the area. To develop and market additional property, which we have been successful doing both in Dansville and in Avon with the property that we own. And then inventory and maintain site inventory for GRE and ourselves, honestly, so that we can respond to anybody that might be looking for either greenfield acreage or buildings, existing buildings, whatever that may be. So our accomplishments in 24, White Creek Solar was approved. It is pending closing as we speak. Greenway Campgrounds was authorized. I have not seen where they are going to go forward with that. It may be a withdrawal here at some point. They are doing some work over there, but they just don't seem to want to engage with the benefits that were approved for them. So that's up to them. They've kind of gone radio silent. My calls to Chad.
It looks like they've got quite a few, you know, 4 or 5.
They've been working over there, yeah, but nothing has really come back. We've reached out to their attorney. The attorney has told us, I know nothing about this in terms of what they're doing. So I think it's gonna be a withdrawal. Livingston Associates, they put up a new building on River Road on their campus. That was a sales tax only project. We do have a pilot project and a mortgage recording tax that are coming to the table. That'll be in 25, but in 24, they built the building and used our sales tax. And Jaycox Creek 2 was authorized, but nothing has done on that. So we were able to make the successful transition for the Livingston Correctional Facility. We have been out there and done an HVAC, mechanicals, inventory and assessment of condition. The property has been marketed. It's out on LoopNet. If you want to check it out, we've got some great drone shots and aerial shots. There are some internal shots that are going to be going up this month. We were just out there the other day. We have been taking some prospects through it. We still do have a prospect that's very hot on things from California that we've discussed before. A weekly call with them. The prospect that we took through just this past week was the result of one of their companies that they're bringing toward this whole development. So things are moving ahead out there, actually a little bit slowly, but we're trying to get things done. We've got some more work to do, and I'll be bringing that to you as it comes up. Jaguar Tubulars, that company has resurfaced again. They are still working on the capital stack to finance the construction, but the largest piece of their equipment has been shipped to Rochester. It is here awaiting a building to put it in. I have a meeting with the contractors, which is Taylor the Builders next week. No, I'm sorry, following week, to see where that status is, but things are starting to percolate there. It's just taking a little bit. The site is approved, by the way. The site plan has been approved by the Village of Avon. We do have a foreign entity for Gateway Agribusiness Park that's moving forward. I'll have an update on that. We've been working with them very closely for the last 2-3 months. Utility scale solar has still sort of been out there, although it has slowed down a lot. And the infrastructure at Jones Steel Park was completed. We've got 8 acres under contract for purchase out there. That is the operations and accomplishments report for the IDA for 2024, and I need a motion to approve that.
Any questions for the director? If hearing none, I don't entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
2.5 seconds.
All in favor?
Carried. Great, thanks. So now, as we do every year, we put a mission statement and a measurement report together for the upcoming year. So again, kind of more of the same. The way that we wrote these bullets when we wrote them, it really does cover a myriad of topics generally, so that we don't go into the weeds on too much. But still, with Livingston Correctional out there, I think that's okay.
Proceed.
Job creation, tax-based commerce, that's still on the docket for out there. And as you can tell from 24, we are working diligently to do that. We still want to stay ahead of market conditions so that we can respond to any of the prospective needs that are out there. We want to market the property so that we, as our chairman of the Board of Supervisors instilled in me years ago when I was hired, we don't really want to be in the land business in certain areas. So we want to make sure that we're putting those back on the tax base and not carrying those for as many years as we have in some areas. And then to keep that site selection so that we can respond diligently when site selectors are looking for an area to develop. There's some certifications here that we answer at the bottom. The board members acknowledge that you really understand this. I'm going to have to put a yes in there. So if you don't have an understanding, please ask me some questions. Who has the power to appoint the management? The Board of Supervisors appoints management for the agency. If the board appoints the management, do you have a policy you follow when appointing management? And the Board of Directors does not appoint management. So you don't have a policy that you follow. The Board of Supervisors is in charge of that. The role of the board and the role of management in the implementation of the mission. The board this board is charged with strategic direction and oversight of the agency, as well as policy evaluations. So we do that on an ongoing basis, and we reaffirm those once per year at our annual meeting. And as the board acknowledged that they've read and understand the responses to these questions, I what you do. If you want me to make any changes, I certainly can.
Any questions? Make a motion to approve.
Narrow move.
All in favor?
I carry. Thank you. Confidential evaluation of the board performance. You're gonna see these, on the LCDC agenda too. I don't need this filled out by you 3 different times. This is filled out on behalf of the IDA, the LCDC, and the CRC, which has been inactive, but, so I do need you to fill one of these out. If you do that today and leave it with us, that'd be great. If there's another way that confidentially you want to get it to us, you can certainly take it with you and digest it some more. It is the same as last year. I'm sorry. I'm holding it, but you don't have it, so, coming around as we speak.
Great.
So-
I'm not, this was a week and a half ago, but she had the stomach bug
Oh.
for the first time, so I'm like navigating, like, I've never got sick. And then you have kids, and it's like, she's short, well, this is not convenient. Oh, I don't, but yeah, she's gonna be 2. Yeah, yeah. Oh, big kid. Yes.
Yes, you can have mine.
Oh, my quarters here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I'm due again in May 2nd, so they'll be 2 years apart. And it's a girl, so like saying, I can't wait. My brother's son is 9 months younger than our daughter. And my parents, like, it's the same thing.
Appreciate it.
They're in Florida, right?
It's not
See
lucky
the
them.
girls, they're on the beach.
So that is the confidential evaluation. You would fill that out, or if you want to take it with you, feel free. You can bring it back. Next meeting, we have to get that into Paris by March 31st at the latest. So as soon as we do have them all back, we'll get those uploaded. The ethics and disclosure is also, I think, going to be coming around. I'll help. This is one that has to go back to Michelle Reese. You've seen these before. You've seen it before because you probably already sent yours back, didn't you? As a supervisor? Yeah, Sarah, you're good. They can be online. I believe they're on the county website, so you can do it virtually. Right, did you do yours already? Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. That'll look very familiar to you. Probably thought you were
Thank
escaping
you.
those. Thank you. I already did those, okay. The supervisors get them from Michelle too, so, one way or another, that's gotta be turned into her. There's an envelope there, it is confidential, we'd be happy to turn it in for you, just put them in the envelope. Again, you can take those with you, fill them out at your discretion, and we can turn them for you as well. All right. Now we're on to the regular meeting. The minutes were redistributed to you.
There's no corrections or additions. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the December 6th meeting.
Narrow move.
Second,
Thank you, David.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Treasurer's report.
The treasurer's report. So I'm gonna give you an annual update. We've had Bonadio in. They came in right after the new year, as they always do. I think they stayed for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, as they always do. They are making adjustments to the December year-end report, have asked us not to touch it. They don't want to audit a moving target. So I have nothing for you to approve today. That, once they adjust their December numbers, it affects the January numbers. So what you're gonna get is an audit from them in March. We'll have January, February, and March to approve. But they are working diligently on things and have taken over control of our finance office to do what they need to do. So nothing, no action on that as of today. There is a, I think, in your packet, did you all get an American Rock Salt letter? American Rock Salt, they've been the subject of a lot of concern that's out there, regarding the demand for salt and the supply of salt. Talked to Joe Jr. a couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of what I'll call propaganda that's out there that's extremely misleading. I've heard collapse that is absolutely untrue. They've literally just been inundated with demand. And I think the comment's been made several times over with all the publications that I've seen in social media. I've never seen them literally working from the pile that's coming up from underground. The inventory is depleted. They have contracts all over the Northeast are honestly taking the supply from them. So they are working 7 days a week, and it says in here 101 out of the last 113 days, they've been going 24 hours a day. So they're going at max capacity. And I just wanted to put this out there. This was the statement from them. If you come across anything or to clarify what's going on out there, this is what I can.
It's a good year for them. This is the year they need, little occasions. They're selling 18,000 ton a day, they're producing 9,000 ton a day.
Yeah.
And again, they're getting farther away from where the hoist is.
Yep.
They need to get into that.
West, under
Western,
the river,
yeah.
which we approved 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
under the cancer egg there.
The thing is too, though, like they have obstacles with like like as someone who is struggling to hire, like, and mitigating like sicknesses, like we're naive to think that that doesn't impact a company like that. So that, and with the safety thing, we're also naive to think that if there wasn't a collapse, that wouldn't be headline news.
Oh,
So
no,
I just love that
absolutely.
people think that they have like an inside scoop. I'm like, with OSHA, and I forget what the term is for theirs. Yes, we would, yeah, so.
Plus equipment breakdowns and, things like
And
that.
they're getting way out. They gotta put power out there. They gotta put belts out there. They gotta put track out there.
Well, yeah, you're right. Like parts that would have taken 5 years ago, 2 days to get, you're looking at 2 to 3 weeks, so.
I really like the part where they put in here that they shipped 1.8 million tons for the entire season. And in January alone, they shipped 2.1 million tons. So I did see that out online somewhere on social media that wasn't true. And here's the company telling you it is. So I think there's a lot of misinformation from competitors who were upset about the buy local bill that
They got
Governor Hochul passed.
and also changing the Erie County.
Exactly.
Stockpile or what I hear. If they order, what they're doing is, let's say you need nine tons, they're ordering 9, they only need 4.
Mhm.
And then they're bragging, advertising about this. They hired a PR firm.
They did, yes.
I know that, they hired a PR firm to counteract the other PR firm that the Canadian company hired.
Yeah.
Because they're fit. Because the gas ship's all over.
E3 Communications, yes. So nonetheless, I wanted to share this with you. I have been on the phone with them. There is a lot of misinformation out there, so I thought that was an important piece of, and I see this was, I believe, the impetus for the article that I thought I saw in Livingston County.
Yeah, they called
it yesterday.
They call
Okay.
it. I didn't respond.
So it's a little bit of clarification on everything.
I haven't heard that anybody in local has not been able to get salt, the towns or villages.
Yeah, us contractors can. I mean, we can.
Yeah, but the contracts that they are still are the ones that they're prioritizing. The ones that are under contract.
Not
No.
necessarily.
Oh, okay.
No, I committed to say 50 pallets, right? And there's no way.
Same with Bristol Mountain.
Mhm.
Oh, so you can't get the bag stuff either? I know that they won't let the commercial guys come into the mine, but.
It doesn't exist.
Right? So
I
there's
texted
no-
him this morning, I'm out.
there's no
And I have
bags
some
over
free-
there?
None. He says, call me on Tuesday and we'll see what we.
And pressurized hasn't got anything?
Well, it's 3 times the cost per bag.
That's
Cause
the
I know
truth.
they were putting it down at the old, coal storage in
Yeah.
in Mount Morris.
There's a hybrid product that they'll sell you, but it's what it is.
Well, it certainly has been a different winter than they've had the last 3.
They need it.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Almost over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the ground.
Right.
New business. Last year, we did approve some job fair funding. The way that workforce development does this is that in order to cover their advertising costs, they have to charge potential employers that want to come to their job fairs, they have to charge them. With our funding, they don't have to charge, so it does open the gates a little bit for some of the employers who want to come in, and they don't have to pay, so I think it helps them. Last year, we approved an amount not to exceed 6,000. They actually used 3,429, so 3,500 bucks, call it. They're looking to do this again. It's a relationship that we've worked closely with them on. I would like one thing, and I've kind of assembled a small committee. I'm not there yet, but if we were to look at approving the same amount not to exceed 6,000 as we did last year, I'd love to use the additional amount that, 2,500 to do a summer job fair specifically for students who would be looking for employment in certain areas. I've assembled a crew. I don't know if it's going to take off. I certainly need help doing it. But I do think that there's some employers out there that would appreciate some summer help. I'm thinking of students here, even at the college, that stay for the summer, but more importantly, high school students. We all had jobs when we were coming through high school. And I just think that there's some opportunities out there for these kids to be working again.
So do they pay also for the, at the Genesee County Fairgrounds? Does that advertisement come out of that 3,500?
That is not in the Glow with Your Hands, no.
That's separate.
No, that is a separate.
But at one time we did.
We did a sponsorship for
They
that.
don't
Mary
pay
Ellen's
for
been
it.
very active with that. That's in September. Those sponsorships will be coming kind of one-off. It's not in this number.
So you'd be running yours maybe like May.
But I'd like to.
I have an idea.
I need help bringing it together, as I talked about the other day at our staff meeting. So we put a small crew, including workforce development and, some folks from our area that would help to kind of organize it and put it together and figure out where it's gonna happen. I'd like to do a south, central and north fair so that we can pick up, those in everything, quite honestly. But the big thing would be picking up the school districts, because
So would you put this on hands-on, or you just discuss what you're doing? You wouldn't have any equipment, lawnmowers?
no. This is strictly a job fair where
There's,
a restaurant sets up, with, at a table and says, I need 2 dishwashers and servers, and kids that can come through on a Saturday, hopefully with parents. That's the best way that it seems to work, but kids that can look for these jobs are there seeking out the opportunities. And they'd be jobs that would exist near or around their hometowns.
so if you had one in Caledonia, one in Mount Morris, and one in Dansville, you'd cover it.
It'd be pretty close, yeah. I don't have the details. I wish I did. I wish I had a specific request for you. I'd love to see if we could approve the 6,000. I don't see where workforce development used all of that last year, and if we can bring this to fruition, I can use that additional funds to budget for the summer job fair.
A motion to approve $6,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you all.
One note on that, though, random, but I would make sure that we coordinate with end of school events for scheduling that in May.
Okay.
Definitely think it should be May, because like that's when we try to get like summer help, but like if they have proms or something, kids are not,
Okay.
kids are not coming, yeah.
And also athletics, the sectionals right in there.
Yeah, which spring's a little less than like May is a little lighter,
Mhm.
but just the prom thing is just.
I started this only because I had the audience with Kelly Zimmerman at the Dansville School District the other day after the chamber meeting, and she said, I would love to host it. I'd love to spread it to our students. I'd love to be able to do something to help that. So that's sort of the partnership of this committee that I'm looking at, is the schools to find out how the
Yeah.
schedule is and how to reach the students.
Yeah,
Because they're the primary target that I want to get.
because York does one independent,
Oh, really? Okay. I
Yes.
didn't know that.
because we're going to that.
Right.
And then BOCES obviously does one,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking of like Livonia, like all of those restaurants and stuff, like Beachcomber, like those things, like would be good for the service, like the short Marks Marina, like that kind of stuff.
Just the temporary help for the
Right,
season.
right.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm trying to target to. So, yeah.
We're trying to staff a lot of those spots now.
Awesome.
If you looked at Wegmans or talked to them, because they use a lot of summer help, students.
Noise was also in the conversation about trying to track some students into permanent positions. So we talked about some summer internships that they would offer to shadow, say, nurses or billing clerks or HR, I mean, any of the aspect, radiology, whatever. They would be interested in trying to groom some students that they could kind of watch through the system and then
Right.
graduate and bring right into full-time positions. They're still getting killed by travelers. Beating up their bottom line.
Mhm.
Thank you. We'll keep you posted on that. I do have a bunch of comments. So we're working with a Canadian company, Armstrong Milling.
Do you want to do that and
We're good.
televised, because can Genesee County and everybody else?
Okay.
pick up on that?
I'm good on this one. Yeah, we've been working very, very closely with them. They picked out locally at Gateway Agribusiness Park. Armstrong is a company that manufactures birdseed, wild birdseed in Hagersville, Ontario. It's really how that was their core business. They reached out to milling oats as a pet food ingredient, which is what they want to bring to New York State and more specifically Livonia and Livingston counties. The Gateway Park, they've been down, we walked it. I think it was minus 86 degrees when we did it that day, but they've seen the property. They're looking at 10 acres with another possibility to purchase another 10. We are working right now through kind of the site plan and build out and whatnot, what needs to happen there. The initial building will likely be kind of, I'll call it a Morton building because they're actually working with Morton, something that just gets them started, enough to put some equipment in and get going. That allows them to start, and then they would build out a bigger facility that will allow them to do the oat milling process. So things are going great. I was on the phone with them twice this week. They've been here 2 or 3 times. Their executive board at the company is still working through the process of committing to it, but I think with every call we're on, it just gets a little bit better and a little further down the line. So it's not a huge employer. We're probably looking at 8 to 10, but it's a great addition to that park over there that we've been trying to get some business going with. They do have a great relationship with Howlett's, which is right next door in that park. So, and they need rail, which has rail frontage. So the LA&L has been involved in these conversations too. More to come. Wonderful people, family owned. They're just salt of the earth, great people. So working through that. Livingston Correctional, I did give you a few tidbits. We did the HVAC assessment. I'm waiting for a report on that from Danforth. The prospects that we took through are looking for roughly 10 to 15,000 square feet. They like not the program, the school building, the one that where the classes were held. They like that for what they want to do and are looking for much more information, but would be very, very interested, and were essentially ruled out the dormitories and anything else and said this would be the spot where we want to go. So I think that's a good prospect, and we're working through that with them. Made a connection with the Cornell School of Agriculture. Wonderful guy by the name of Dr. Neil Madsen. Talking with him about some controlled growing operations, and sat on a call with him for about an hour Wednesday. Had some excellent insight, provided me with a lot of his background and research, and a prospect that I'll be talking to this afternoon who is looking at the Dansville Industrial Park for a phase 1 30-acre project and a phase 2 30-acre project. So very, very excited about that. And I'll keep you posted there. That's brand new. Jaguar Tubulars, I talked a little bit about during the accomplishments report. That is moving forward. Again, albeit slowly, but we are staying in touch with that to bring you back up to speed. That's about an $80 million project as of last year. It could be 85 by now. And 104 jobs was the initial projection. The LA&L is proceeding ahead with their transload facility that's out behind J&A Farm Market over, you know where I am, for Kelly's, kind of in that neighborhood. They own 113 acres behind all those buildings.
And you actually get into that by Isaacs and trucks.
Up on Ruckle Drive will be the access point, correct? This would allow them to load and unload rail to truck, kind of a multimodal type facility. They have some grant funding through the state to do this, and they are proceeding. We've got some design work that they've already done. So LA&L is moving ahead with that. Not to leave the LA&L, we are working with them on some rail infrastructure money that's out there through the DOT. Sweeteners Plus, Ingredients Plus has, we're on a call with them this week. They have two locations, one in Buffalo, Erie County, and one here, obviously in Lakeville, where they'd be looking to do some improvements to the rail infrastructure. We, as the IDA, would have to be the conduit for that. A private sector company can't apply for it. So as the IDA, we would be the applicant to go to the DOT, and then funds would pass through us for the improvement of the rail. And then the company would essentially be responsible for the reimbursement. They'd pay for it. They would supply us with all the receipts and then be reimbursed through DOT through us. So it's not an uncommon arrangement. That's a lot of times how New York State works with funding. They do go through a conduit, I guess. So deadline on this is April 7th. Unfortunately, I know nothing about rail engineering other than you wear the cap and blow a whistle, but they would tell me what they need to do and design what needs to be done. So we're working closely with the railroad company and Sweeteners to get that. Connor Ave over in Mount Morris is a piece of property that we own that was contaminated years ago from DeSanto jet gas. We have monitoring wells over there right now. We've been approached by an adjoining property owner that would be interested in picking that up from us. I've had some calls with DEC to start to push that on a path forward so that we can work with the fellow that wants to pick it up. The monitoring wells, we have to get back into and see where they stand. I don't think they've been checked in.
Those padlocks haven't been open since they've gone on
It's
there.
been a while. When was that case, Jim? You were working on it. Check.
Rochelle Oil, yeah, Rochelle Oil.
Shell, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I think,
Forest, you know.
1997, 98, when DEC got involved.
Okay.
It was a surprise because the property was owned by Champion Miller and they donated it to the IDA.
Thank you. Forgot to thank them.
As soon as the IDA took over, that's when the DEC got involved.
They also took over.
From the brownfields.
Yeah.
If we don't get the deal here, we're gonna donate it to the town of Mount Morris.
That's what we were saying, the village, for the parking lot.
Yeah, interestingly, during this, it surfaced that there's another very small parcel that's out front that basically is right by the greenway that cuts across Connor Ave.
So the road really belongs to that parcel.
Technically, you have no access on Connor Ave.
It
We
would
own
stop
it.
the village from getting into the DPW.
So we broached it with the village to take possession of that and dedication so that they can actually use the road, which, I don't know, for some reason it was never parceled out so that there could be an easement given or dedication given. Anyway, that's surfaced in some of these too, but
And I think there's 2 wells on the gas, the propane dealer there.
Yes, 2 or 3.
trust, monitoring wells, yes.
Monitoring
Yep,
wells.
yep. And I am headed with Maureen, we're headed out on Monday to the New York State EDC conference in Albany. Always an interesting one when it's in Albany. But looking to hear what's going on with the budget and the governor's agenda for the upcoming year. That's all I got for you. Unless there's any questions or any follow-up that you want.
I hear none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion, Sal makes motion.
All in favor?
Carried. Thank you.